distinguished visitors, students, faculty, and friends of the library. Good evening to you all. I'm Arthur Duff, Head of Library Services at the Lilavati Library. Lilavati Lalbhai Library, I should say. May I extend a warm welcome to you on behalf of our librarian, Tejaswini Doshi, and her team, to our library, the knowledge hub and the very centre and beating heart of our wonderful campus. We are here today to open the Perpetual Project exhibition on the development of CEPT Campus. As you know, the role of the library is not only to be the source of information and the repository of knowledge, but it is also the vehicle for engaging with all our faculties to optimize the use of these resources. The CEPT Exhibition Centre is one of the ways we have developed since the library opened for this to happen through the staging of exhibitions as well as facilitating learning opportunities around them. An exhibition is, in many respects, a two-dimensional reality. However, with the engagement of a teaching process, it becomes three-dimensional. For generations of students and faculty, CEPT Campus has been a place of possibilities that has evolved in response to changing needs and demands. We are honoured to welcome Dilip Patel of Achal Architects, who, since 2012, has played the role of campus architect. A challenging task, managing impossible expectations and unreasonable deadlines, all with his inimitable good humour and professionalism. Thanks to him, we're able to host this fascinating exhibition, which has been curated by Vivek Sheth, detailing the story of the continual process of development and transformation of the CEPT campus that is going on around us and will carry on into the future. None of this happens without a considerable commitment of time and effort, and so from our side, may I thank Urvi Sheth, Director of the CEPT Workshop, and the manager of the dedicated exhibition team headed by Dunit Bhai, who have delivered the production of the exhibition on site. This has been supported by our library team led by Payal Dan. Thanks to all of you for coming and for your active support of CEPT's commitment to a better world through the agency of our 5 faculties. The exhibition remains open until the 20th of November. Please come again and bring your friends. And may I now invite our President, Bimal Patel, to speak, and we will be followed by Achal Bakeri, CEPT alumnus and board member and founder, chairman and managing director of Symphony, who will also talk and finally open the exhibition. And this will be followed by a talk by Dilip Patel, who will introduce the exhibition to us. Thank you very much.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. I just wanted to share a few thoughts that come to mind in the context of this exhibition. This exhibition is about how the architecture of this campus is a perpetual project. And it reminds me of this discussion that I was a part of very recently. I have the privilege of being advisor on the design for Geo Institute. Geo Institute is the university that Mr. Mukesh Ambani is trying to establish in Mumbai. What he wants to do is a world-class big university, whatever we expect of Mr. Ambani. And I was in this meeting with I'm an advisor. So we were meeting with architects, prospective architects, who would master plan and design the campus. These were best people from across the world. And as architects do, I mean, when the time comes when the client says, okay, so let's get on, an architect will naturally say, well, so give me the program. Tell me how many faculties you want. Tell me how many labs you want. Tell me how many teachers will be there, how many students, how many this, how many that. It's an architect's way of throwing the ball back into the client's court and saying, you know, get your brief together, get your vision together, and then expect me to do something, and I will design you a building that will meet the requirements of the brief. And of course, Mr. Ambani is too sharp a man to get caught in a trap like that by some architect. And he turns to the architect and says, "What do you mean? Do you want a program?" He says, "Stanford University, I studied there. Those buildings were designed 150 years ago. You think that the same program is in place just now there? You think the same labs are there? You think the same teachers are there? You designed me a fine building. And where is Mr. Ambani?" He says, "Yeah, I was at the Kremlin the other day. And that wasn't designed to be the head, the building for Russia's government. That was designed to be something else. So you designed me a fantastic building that will have a timeless quality, and then we'll keep adapting it." And it got me thinking, and I said, really, that in some sense that's true. Unless a building is designed to be unchanging, and there's rarely ever buildings like that. One comes to mind is the Taj Mahal. Another comes to mind is these days, India Gate or some gateway, commemorative structure like that. These are structures that are meant to never be changed. The rest of them are supposed to facilitate some function. And in some sense, it's very true that every building over time will need to be adapted and will need to change. Because the world changes, the program changes. After all, this is a university, and the first job that we have to do here is to train people. And so our buildings cannot be, will need to be continually adapted. And this is a task that needs to be done. And in our case, has been very, very ably done by Dilip in very, very difficult circumstances. Before I say more about his role in this, let me just add two more things. One thing at CEPT we continually say is that, when you want to judge the merit of any institution, the only thing you must look at is the quality of work produced by the students. It doesn't matter what great stars you have as teachers. It doesn't matter what fantastic campus you have. It doesn't matter what the alums are doing. The quality of an institute is really measured by the work they produce. But this statement is only half true, because the quality of infrastructure that you have really does have a big impact on the productivity of students, what they are able to achieve, what they are not able to achieve. So while we, when emphasizing the quality of work that students produce, we sort of downplay the importance of infrastructure. Infrastructure is very important. And we should never fall into the trap of romanticizing the lack of infrastructure. A problem, I would say, that afflicts many quarters in our country. We start romanticizing the scarcity of infrastructure, the lack of infrastructure, and calling it the Indian way of doing things. It's plain lack of infrastructure. When you have lack of infrastructure, productivity levels go down, and when you have scarcity, except we had a lot of scarcity of space when Dilip started working, and it is the cause of many, many disputes and fights. So an institute's infrastructure needs continual renewal, has to be of the highest quality, and we have slowly over the last 7-8 years been pulling ourselves up with our bootstrings. So two things are important when you think of the infrastructure and the campus facilities. One is, remember the importance of infrastructure. Second, don't fetishize your buildings to such an extent that you are unwilling to adapt them for change. We must respect whatever we have. We must respect there must be a certain continuity, but we must also remember that life goes on, things change, and things have to adapt. And these are the two sort of things that Dilip had had to keep in mind as he went along. I want to stop at this point, but before I stop, I just want to say one thing. I'm personally immensely indebted to Dilip. When I was sort of had sort of said that I would be willing to do this job and I was still not the president, there was a number of people who would come up to me and say, yes, yes, you must do this job. Dilip was one of them. And I said to him, I said, yeah, it's fine for you to say you must do this job, but who's going to help me when I actually take it on? And very matter of factly, he says, I'm there, I'll help you. And indeed, he has been there right through, doing some of the most thankless, difficult tasks. And initially, these were really difficult because there was scarcity of everything. People were fighting and he had to allocate resources between people and face so much flack that I'm immensely grateful that in his solid way he went in there doing simple things, thankless things. This is not heroic stuff that you are doing, but he was doing it in such a competent and professional manner, and some of it was also terrific, heroic stuff. So thank you very much, Dilip. With that, I'll stop and ask Achal to take it.
So I'm really happy to be inaugurating this exhibition. The title, the Perpetual Project, I think is very appropriate because like any growing and dynamic organization, CEPT has been evolving over the last 57 years. But it has been since 2012, since Bimal took over and Dilip came in the picture, that the pace really accelerated and development took place to accommodate the needs of the multiple faculties and the growing body of students. Much of this work has been done under the guidance of, Dilip, and this work is really doesn't have the glory of high-profile, projects like the library or the academic block or the workshop. But as Bimal said, this is grunt work. This is messy grunt work. And so, upgrading buildings like the NILPA building or the GIDC Bhavan or the parking or toilets. I mean, I remember the kind of toilets we had 40 years ago, and what you have today is a world apart. So I mean, those kinds of projects really are messy and require tremendous amount of work. And so this exhibition is a great idea because it sort of compresses and puts together what has been done in the last 7 years. And I was told that we have done all in all something like 200 projects, small and large, costing about 20 crores. And I've been part of the building committee, and some of these projects have been sort of vetted by the committee, but didn't realize that we had done 200 projects over the course of 7 years. That's an amazingly large body of work. And so I think this exhibition really helps us in sort of taking stock, looking back, taking stock, and putting things into perspective of where we were 7 years ago and where we are today. And these projects have been executed under Dilip's guidance by the campus office team, comprising of Devanshu Pandit, Bhargav Tiwar, Ashish Jani, Ajay Patil, and for many years even Reshma Ben Shah of the Faculty of Technology was involved with it. So on behalf of the building committee and on behalf of the governing council, a big thank you, compliments and congratulations to Dilip as well as to the campus office team. Thank you very much.
Hello, welcome everyone. I'll start with the context was during the celebration of 50 years of architecture school. A lot of ex-students, junior, senior, we used to meet very often 1 year ahead of the celebration. And we're discussing kuch karna chahiye for the campus and generally talking very casually about हमारे time पे ये था, something like that. And I thought, it's right, all ex-students would do that, obviously. Then, in mid 2012, Bimal got appointed as president of university. One fine day he calls me that we have constituted a building committee for the CEPT, and we have decided to hire a campus architect and form a campus office to look at all aspects of the physical aspects, space aspects of the campus. So I said, fine, let's find out someone. So he said, no, we don't need to find out. I have already given your name and it has been ratified by the committee. So it came as a shock to me, and it was quite a pleasant shock in a way, and quite an enormous job. So it took a while to give a thought. And I thought this is the right time. Maybe we were talking about during the celebrations, we were talking about we should give back to the campus. So why not do it like this? So this is how the Perpetual Project started, actually. So it was difficult initially because I was a regular visitor to the campus, but not so close enough. So first thing we did was photo document the entire campus, get all the drawings collected from various sources which were not there available. Some of the buildings we got it measured. After this initial acclimatizing process, I decided to have a look at the existing spaces on campus. Across the campus, there are various different types of buildings, different faculties, the needs are different. So I thought, why not have a look at the space plan of the campus and not look at individual spaces. They can be done later on. So we then did about 2.5 months of very extensive work on the understanding the spaces of the campus. So by doing that, we realized that there are a lot of spaces which are not properly used, inappropriately used. The size, because of the sizes, and there was a misfit in the size and the use of the space. So this whole exercise was then presented to the building committee, and then we found out then we have a base to start from somewhere. So that's how we started getting into space allocation. We had now a formal system of making a space matrix and go ahead with every semester it happens. It's a recurring thing. So that's one. Then I told Bimal that we need to have some money to look at very crucial buildings, which are like, for example, building behind this was Faculty of Technology. So it's in bad shape due to encroachments. That's not the right word, but that's virtually the right word, over a period of time. And there are a lot of other spaces. There were some spaces, there's a huge, large building, large body building, which was occupied by a research and consultancy people. So there was absolutely big need for academic spaces, space for faculty, classrooms. So luckily we got this off-campus building NILPA, which is known as NILPA from Ahmedabad Education Society. So we shifted about 120 people over there with full facilities, fully furnished. We spent a lot of money after that. So then I suddenly realized that I have so much of space to deal with, which is good in a way. So that this whole building is also a perpetual project for me, really, because so many things are happening. Sorry. So there are a few major projects, like we got this canteen, which belonged to MG Science, and that land belonged to MG Science, but according to the new master plan, it came under CEPT. So that was unused for 20 years. It was a 1940s building, beautiful building. It was a canteen. There are 3 such canteens across this whole campus. So we thought it would be because it was a single large space, so we thought it would be good to convert it into a meeting space, a conference space. There is a multi-purpose space. It could be used for juries, it could be used for lectures, any. So we spent a lot of money, time on it, and it was restored very properly. Similarly, we got another canteen behind the girls' hostels, and that time CEPT decided to do an archives. So I always had this issue of CEPT deciding something, and I have to do it because CEPT is deciding something. Fortunately. So I used to curse Bimal, કે પહેલા મને પૂછીને કરવું જોઈએ ને. Because he will say, કે આનો જગ્યા કાઢ, ક્યાં કાઢશું? So that's how it started. So we restored that also. So quite a few important and at times mundane projects also, but these were very important projects to get everything working properly. So this 7 years we thought was a good long time, and sizable amount of work was done. So we thought it could be a right time to talk about our work. This is not my work only, it is all a very collaborative work. Maybe I was leading it, but I made a system from the beginning that it should be a very collaborative effort. It's like the whole CEPT is working on it. I'd also involve all the faculty and have a heated discussion on any problem or any project and come to a point where we decide, chalo, barabar che, that way. So we thought this would be a nice time to show something to the whole world that we are doing this. Difficult buildings to deal with. When I entered in the scene, there was such a bad scene in the sense the site, in general, if you talk about the campus, not the buildings, the services were in bad shape. There were a lot of PVC water tanks over a lot of terraces. I thought, let's remove all of them. So I thought, why not do a pressurized water system? Just one go, you just remove all the water tanks. So that's how, there's so many other things. I can go on talking maybe. But I would thank Vivek Sheth and Naitik, his teammate, who curated the, thank you Vivek, and within 2 months he is a non-Septian, so he took some time to get into the whole campus, but he did it very well, and particularly happy to have his lot of efforts and lot of commitment within a very short time. I would like to thank Bimal, there's so many of them, Bimal, Chirayo, Srivatsan, Tridip, Anita Ben, finance, purchase department, admin, so many people, and it's all a collaborative thing, so obviously everyone need to be thanked. Thank you. Please come.